welcome back to the Cozy Soul Knitting Podcast. This is episode 17, I think. And if you are new here, hello, welcome. I'm Saoirse. I'm a knitter and a writer, and on this channel, mostly talking about knitting content. So I do knitting podcasts here on this channel as well as vlogs, and I will be incorporating more of my writing journey into my vlogs, but also obviously lots of knitting. So if any of that sounds interesting to you and you want to stick around, make sure to subscribe to my channel before you go. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this podcast. Okay, I feel like it's been a while. I feel awkward. It's like I forgot how to film. It took me so long to get the camera set up, and I'm sure the angle is gonna look funny. I feel like it always does for some reason. So hopefully it's not too bad. So really quick, I do want to mention that I think it's been about 3 weeks since I last podcasted, and I just wanted to note that it's probably going to be pretty sporadic for the next couple of months when I podcast. I do want to do podcasts every 2 weeks, but a couple of things are kind of going on right now that are preventing me from getting into like an actual schedule when it comes to filming podcasts. One is that I have to wait until I have a day where no one's home. Just because of the way that this house is, I can't sit here and like quietly film if people are home because you can hear them everywhere. Like, the kitchen is right upstairs. You would be able to hear people walking up there, making things, doing whatever, and then people are kind of constantly coming up and down the stairs that are like right over here. So I just have to wait until the house is empty, except for me and my dog, who is laying asleep. As I was setting everything up, my dog was like super nervous. She would not settle down. And as soon as I started talking to the camera, she's like, oh, okay, we're podcasting. And then she like went right to sleep. So, but back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's too loud in this house, basically. And it's not that my family is loud. It's just the way that the house is set up and like laid out and everything. It's just not suitable for this. There's really nowhere that I can go and like close the door and have, you know, a little bit of peace and quiet and privacy to film. So I have to wait. So today everyone is gone, which is perfect because I was feeling like I needed to film a podcast soon, and here we are. The other thing that is happening, and I've tried to vlog so many times, but mostly I just ended up not really posting any of it because I was so stressed and it was just not the vibe. And so I feel like I've said this before, but I actually don't know if it made it out onto any video that I actually put on my channel. So, but anyways, we're moving again, or well, I am moving again but this time with my family. Like, we're all moving. So my parents, my brother, and I, and my dog, of course, we're moving in a month or so, a month or two, month and a half, somewhere around there. I'm not sure of the exact date yet, but when I say we, my parents bought a new house and we're gonna be moving. And once we're set up in that new house, I will be able to film more regularly because I'm actually going to have a room. Right now I live in the basement and it's not really a room, you know, I can't close the door and like film. So once I'm set up in the new house, I am planning on filming a podcast every 2 weeks. I am planning on vlogging, writing. Like, I am so motivated. If we could like move tomorrow, I would be like let's go. So anyways, I'm super excited for that change, that upcoming change, and I think it's gonna be so wonderful for all the content because I just feel like I haven't really been able to film anything really. The vlogs have been hard, and that's why I haven't posted any, because I've been stressed about so many things that are now, I think, mostly taken care of, so we're good. But then trying to vlog, wow, people are like listening in. It's so hard for me. I'm really trying to get over it. But at least in the new house, like people might be able to kind of hear me, but they're not going to be like right there where they can definitely hear me. So you can expect a little bit more regular content. I'm hoping around like towards the end of April, depending on how long it kind of takes to get settled in. Let us talk about the finished objects that I have. I am super excited because obviously, well, maybe not obvious, but hopefully obvious to people who have watched the last podcast, I am wearing a finished object today. And then I also need to go grab them. I have 2 more finished objects, so 3 total to chat about. So let's get into it. This is the Uptown Tee by Tori Yu, aka Tori, is it Tori Knits NYC? I'm pretty sure. What do I say? Okay, I'm forgetting how to like talk about my knits. So this is a raglan tee with like this lace pattern on the sleeves. I feel like from how far the viewfinder is away from me, it's like I can't really tell if it's showing up, but I think you can see that it's lace. It's a super simple pattern, I feel like. It's like very easy to follow along. I think having the lace sleeves is like a nice like you're knitting stockinette, but then you have like that lace section for the raglan, so it's like it's kind of like a fun pop of something different as you're going around, and I really enjoyed knitting this. I knit this out of Knit Picks Muse fingering in the colorway Poetic, and it's like just this variegated purple. I don't know if this is hand dyed or if it was commercially dyed. I think that they have some in this line that are hand dyed and some that aren't. I don't think that I bought the ones that were hand dyed, but I have no idea at this point. So I bought this yarn a really long time ago. I just had 3 skeins of this and I was like, that would be perfect to make a little tee out of, and depending on the pattern, like I could be able to make it with these 3 skeins. I actually didn't break into the 3rd skein at all. I think I still, oh yeah, it's right here. I have this much left of the 2nd skein. So this pattern, I did crop it, I think more than it suggested, but that's because I'm short, so I think it's supposed to be cropped, but I needed it a little bit extra cropped, so but yeah, I don't think I knitted it like that much smaller or that much shorter than the pattern suggested. So if you have 2 skeins of hand-dyed yarn, or like a fingering weight hand-dyed yarn that is more than 400 yards each, I feel like you could, again, obviously depending on the size that you're making, you can very easily make this shirt. So it's kind of a cool pattern for something where, you know, you maybe have 2 skeins of some special hand-dyed yarn, and you don't want to make like an accessory, you want to make like a garment with it, you know? And if you're knitting one of the larger sizes, I don't know, you know, you might, obviously there's probably some sizes that might need 3 skeins or 4 skeins, but I still feel like that's like a, you know, if you're looking to make something out of hand-dyed yarn specifically that you don't want to spend, you don't want to buy like enough for a sweater quantities, this could be a fun pattern to do, and depending on your size, you might only need like 2 or 3 skeins. So yeah. Okay, this is also, by the way, a wool yarn. I believe it's superwash, so I think it'll be a nice transitional piece in, you know, into like from summer, or from spring to summer, and then from summer into fall. And I would also wear it, I mean, I would wear this in the winter time with like something over it, of course, too, but I just think it's that nice, like, maybe it's a little chilly out and maybe you want to throw like a cardigan over it or something, but then you know you're going to be taking the cardigan off at some point so you can show off the lace sleeves, right? Like, I just feel like this could be a pretty, I don't know, versatile, I never know how to say that word. Like, it's just, I feel like something I could wear year round, honestly. And I don't know, this color, I think I was really into purple when I bought this. I was really having a purple moment. I like that it's kind of a, I don't know, like if I would say like a jewel toned purple. Also, sorry about the lighting. I have like the overhead lights on as well as my ring light, and I feel like it's casting a little bit of a shadow on me. So hopefully that's not super annoying, but yeah, it's like a very purple. It's very jewel toned, and I'm really loving the jewel tones at the moment. I'm really having like a, I don't know, I just love me some good jewel tones. So I feel like this kind of fit in perfectly, but it's funny because I bought this yarn so long ago at this point. What else is there to say about it? I do feel like when I blocked it, can you guys tell? I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it kind of poofs out right here because of how I blocked it, which I just blocked it normally, just laying out flat, but it kind of like made it poof a little bit like right here. I don't love that, so I don't know if that's something that'll kind of, as I'm wearing it, it'll kind of shake out a little bit. I don't have a thing to steam block. I want to get one. I just keep forgetting to actually like order one. And I think I have like some Amazon gift cards, so I might like buy one at one point from Amazon. But then if I did get one, I would just like steam block this part and kind of try to smooth it out or something. I actually had to, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I actually ripped this back entirely. I think I already said that though in the last podcast, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I had to rip it back because I totally messed up on both sleeves. And then I started it again, and I made use of a proactive, what are they, preemptive lifeline, whatever they're called. The one where, you know, not an afterthought lifeline, like the one where you put it in case you need to rip back. Because ripping back the lace without one would be, I can't do that, so. But I ended up messing up again, and I don't know if you can see it. I think it's right here, but I think I threw in an extra accidental just row of knitting. So like the lace pattern is like, you know, it's got every other row is like just fully knitting. And I think I accidentally did that twice on one of the rounds. Like I think I just forgot where I was, and I did an extra round of knits. And yeah, so there's kind of a line on both sleeves, but honestly I don't think it's that noticeable. And by the time that I had noticed it, it was already quite a ways past the lifeline I had put in, and I just didn't want to rip it back all the way to that lifeline, even though it wouldn't have been all the way back, you know, to like completely redoing it. I just didn't want to, I was at that point, I was like, you know what, it's not that noticeable. I just want to finish it. Like yeah. So I don't know. Again, I don't think you can really tell, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I would totally recommend this pattern. I plan on knitting it again at some point. I don't know with what yarn, I don't know when. I'm thinking it would be fun to do in more of a summery yarn, just to have a top like this that's like specifically for summertime, you know, when it's like the wool might be too hot for like an actual summer day, even with the lace and kind of that breathability that it would have. So anyways, I really enjoy it. I'm just gonna like stand up and show you guys, like it's very cropped, like it does not go past my belly button when it's just kind of there. I think it'll be really cute with some high-waisted like jean shorts or something like that. So I'm very excited, and I have not taken pictures of it because I have been very lazy. So next, I have 2 accessories that I finished, and I'm very proud of both of these. So the first that I have to mention, I did not have these casted on in my last podcast, so I cast them on and finished this project in between podcasts, which isn't really saying that much because it's a very small project. I would say overall knitting time wise, like I definitely didn't work on it every single day, so it took me longer than this to finish it, but I would say if I was only knitting on this project, I probably could have finished it in a couple of days. I think I want to say like, yeah, it could have been finished in like 3 or 4 days. Yeah, depending on how many hours I actually spent knitting on those days. But I did finish a pair of mitts. These are fingerless mitts. These are the Snow Fern fingerless mitts by, I hope I'm not mispronouncing her first name, but by Kalurah Hudson. And these are a really beautiful pair of fingerless mitts, and they are cable. It's a cable pattern, and it's a really fun, like, intricate cable where I feel like you're like, each time you're doing a cable, you're doing something slightly different to kind of have it go like out and then back in, and then this one goes in and then back out. So I don't know, I just feel like they're very intricate, very, very pretty, and I really enjoyed knitting these, and it was like a nice fun project to just like cast on and then cast off. Like, I don't know if I'd want to do cable mittens for like a gift knit. If I was doing a gift knit, I might might do something a little bit more plain, just because sometimes I'm not in the mood for cables and other times I am. But I do feel like, yeah, this was a very quick, easy project. This is my first pair of mitts that I've ever made. So yeah, I was a little like I didn't know what to expect, and I was thinking, I feel like this is always the case. I'm always thinking it's gonna be harder than it actually is. And yeah, so it was really cool to do like the thumb, you know, like gusset and everything. And yeah, I did an Italian bind off. I also did a tubular cast on for this. That's what the pattern calls for. The pattern does call it a tubular bind off, but then the video that it linked was just what I have learned is what I know as the Italian bind off, because it didn't have like the setup rows. But anyways, and yeah, I believe Kalurah is a designer in the Washington state area, so it's cool to kind of like knit a local-ish designer. So yeah, and then the yarn that I used is Knit Picks Swish DK, which I believe is a 100% merino superwash, if I'm not mistaken. And the color that I knit this in is Haze Heather. And I had like the tiniest little bit left over from this, but I also have a whole nother skein. This is how much I had. It was just like hiding behind this. If you didn't notice, I rearranged my yarn cabinet. So I have things in it. It doesn't maybe look like it's in a specific order, but it is. It's by weight, and then it's by, on this side is the yarn that I have for projects that I haven't started, but I know what the yarn is for. In the middle-ish is yarn that I bought that I don't know and haven't figured out yet what I'm going to use it for, and then on this side is for projects that I've already started or have completed, and I have multiple skeins left over. It's on this side, and then my scrappy scraps are like down at the bottom. But yeah, this is the Swish DK, and yep, it is 100% superwash merino, and I have quite a bit left. I had originally bought this yarn to do the classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho, and then after, I think I've knit about 4 of those hats in my knitting career, and I'm kind of over it. I don't think I ever want to knit a 1x1 ribbed hat again. Maybe I will at some point. I do really like, I have one of those Pearl, like 2 of them that I made are not wearable for multiple reasons, or for different reasons. The one that I made that I wear a lot, I do really like. It turned out really well. But I just don't enjoy knitting 1x1 rib, especially for that long. So I was kind of realizing, like, I'm not going to use that yarn for that hat. And I don't know, one day it was super cold out and I was like, I want mitts. I need to get myself some mitts. And then I was like, no, I need to knit myself. I'm not going to buy them, I need to knit them, because I can do that, because I kind of forgot that was a thing. And then I remembered that I had this pattern that I had gotten for free, because on her Instagram, she was, for a while there, I don't think she's doing it right now, but for a while there she was doing, like, every Friday she was giving away a free pattern. She was just having one of her patterns be free for that day. And I got quite a few of her patterns that way, and one of them was the snow fern mitts. So yeah, I really enjoyed this pattern. I would highly recommend it. I feel like I just heard someone like scream. That was weird. Anyways, I would highly recommend this pattern. Yeah, the yarn is super soft and squishy. I kind of want to work with it again, but I also, I don't know. Okay. I'm hearing a child screaming out there, but it doesn't sound like, it sounds like a playful, like squeal type of thing. Not a like, I'm being kidnapped thing, so. It just sounded like it was like so close by. Like they're right outside or something. Anyways, sorry about that. I keep getting distracted. It's not that I don't have anything against superwash. If I have the option to get the yarn and have it not be superwash, I'd rather have it not be, if that makes sense. But I'll still work with superwash. So I don't know. I think that they have this color in some of their other yarns, so I might do that instead, but I don't know if you can see. It has like it's heathered, but like so subtly, and it has like a little bit of pink in it. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but it's so beautiful, and I keep thinking like, oh, like a sweater in this color would be so pretty, but then I'm also like, I don't know if it suits my skin tone very well. Because it is quite, I feel like it is more on the cool side, and I feel like I don't look the best in cooler tones. But I do think that this colorway is absolutely beautiful, and I did really enjoy working with this yarn. It's very, like I said, it's very squishy, very soft. So if that's something you like in a yarn, I would definitely recommend working with it. And then my last finished object, I finished my socks that have been on the needles since Christmas. I finally finished the first one, and then I was so pumped that I had finally finished it that I like whipped the second one out in like, I don't know, like 3 days or something. So it took me months, yeah, months to finish the first one, and then the second one I was like, whoosh, done. I think I always just overestimate how long it takes to knit a pair of socks. I'm always like, oh, it's gonna take so long, so I don't prioritize them. But I feel like if every few days I say, okay, I'm just gonna work on my sock, I feel like I can whip them out really quickly, but I just don't do that. So I'm gonna start doing that because I want more socks. You can't see it, it's up here. I have like a full, almost full, what are these called? Shelves. I have almost a full shelf of sock yarn and like sock sets. They're not all sock sets, but a good portion. And it's not a full shelf, it's like half, whatever. But anyways, I'm so glad to have these done. These the yarn was a Christmas gift for my parents, and then I casted it on right away. And yeah, it's a self-patterning sock yarn, which makes me want to knit like some colorwork socks, because I'm like, ooh, you know, I see the pattern and I'm like, ooh, I want to be like doing, I mean, it's cool that it does it on its own, but like, it's like, I want to be doing it. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, so I did not try to match them because that just seemed like too much work, and I just wanted to get the second one casted on. I was kind of in a rush. I really like how this heel turned out. I think it kind of looks better than this one, but it's whatever. And I haven't worn these yet because I wanted to keep them nice for the podcast, but I messed up on the heel. I started following the directions for the medium-sized sock from the vanilla socks from Crazy Sock Lady, instead of the small that I usually knit, and so I did the heel. I knit the heel, like the heel flap. I knit that to, what is it, like 30, like instead of knitting it to 28 rows, I did 32, I think, because I was looking at I had the wrong number in my head, because I wasn't actually looking at the instructions, because I'm trying not to, because at this point I'm like, I feel like I know what to do, and I always go and look at the pattern to like double check because I'm an overthinker, but I'm like trying to train myself to not rely on the pattern, but then I got the wrong number in my head, so anyways. But yeah, so these are done. Very excited, and now that I've shown them on the podcast, I can wear them. I just wanted to keep them nice, you know? So I also need to take pictures of them and put them on Instagram because I have not been doing that. I was being so good about posting on Instagram for like 4 days, and then I stopped again. Okay, so let's get into whips. I'm super excited to share these with you because I feel like I have 2 new cast-ons and then 1 resurrected whip that was like a languishing whip, and now I've pulled it back in to be an active whip, so very exciting. Okay, and I have so many things I want to cast on soon. So I feel like next episode, whenever that may be, I feel like there will be also a ton of cast-ons because I just have so much yarn that I have been like just trying, like I'm like, don't cast on, don't like finish these first. Anyways, so I decided for my next sock that I would use one of my Sewrella sock sets because I was going to, and then I got that yarn for Christmas, and then I decided to do that one instead. This is the 1989 sock set from Sewrella from the Eras collection. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't have much to show you, but I did start my next pair of socks. Sorry about all these ends are kind of in the way here, but yep. I'm doing obviously the contrast cuff. I will probably do the contrast heel, and then I feel like I always, even with the contrast color, I always have a lot left, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the toes in the contrast color, and if I run out for the second sock somehow, then I'll just figure it out. I'll only do one. I don't know. I'll only do the contrast toe on one if I end up not having it, but I think I will. So there is my my newest sock. It's very exciting, and yeah, again, my goal for sock knitting is just to try to pick a day every once in a while to just focus on getting as far along on the sock as possible, and just like for that day just like not working on anything else, just so I can try to get them out faster. This is probably my most exciting whip. So this was something that I had just casted on before the last podcast. I didn't have very much progress on it, and now I have like the entire yoke is done plus a good portion of the body. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm showing you the front. I am very far along, I feel like personally, on my Lumme. This looks so good in the viewfinder. I feel like up close it's just really apparent that my tension isn't super great with color work, but like in the viewfinder it just looks beautiful. So I'm hopeful that it will block out pretty well, and I am obsessed with this. The color work part went by so quickly because I think I was just so obsessed on it, and then when I hit the stockinette portion of the body I kind of slowed down, started working on some other things, but I think I'm close to where I am doing both the optional short row shaping sections of this pattern. So there's one after you finish the color work, and then there's another for the hemline. I'm gonna do both just because I don't know. I think I'm almost to that point, and I also need to try this on because I am shorter than most people, so I'm assuming that I probably don't need to knit the body as long as it tells you before doing the short row hem thing. So I should probably do that, but I haven't yet. And then I think there's a bit, am I totally making this up? I think there's a little bit of color work later on, either on the sleeves or on both the sleeves and the body. I don't remember. But if there is, I'm really looking forward to it because I've been missing, like once I finish this color work here, I've just been like, man, I really want to do more color work. So if you have any colorwork sweaters that you've knit recently that you would recommend the pattern, let me know, because I'm looking for my next colorwork sweater pattern. I mean, I have some ideas, but yeah, let me know. Let me know which ones you've knit recently, if you're a colorwork knitter, and if you would, yeah, what were your thoughts on them? What yarn did you use? Let me know that as well. Speaking of yarn, the yarn that I used for this, or that I am using for this, is Lion Brand wool, no, not Woolies. I hate Woolies. It's Lion Brand Fisherman's wool, and I'm using the natural shade. This is my second skein, and I just joined it, I think yesterday or the day before. And then the contrast color is Patons Classic Wool Worsted. I believe the shade for that, or the colorway name, is Meadow. And yeah, I love these colors together. I think it's like so beautiful, and yeah, I love it. So I don't think I have much else to say about this. I do really want to get it finished, especially since it's, I don't know, I feel like it's still very much like we're still gonna have some cold weather here, but the past couple of days it has been beautifully sunny out, and when you're in the sun it's really warm, and then when you're not it's really cold. So we're definitely getting into spring, and I feel like this is more of a, because of the yarn that I'm using, it's definitely more of a like a winter and cold weather sweater. So yeah, I don't see myself wearing it a ton in the spring and in the summer, and into the fall. I think this is something I will wear mostly in the winter, so I do want to get it finished soon so I can wear it a few times before the weather starts to get really, really nice. I mean, it's still gonna take it getting to be summer for it to get like warm, but I just think that this is it's gonna be a little too warm for the kind of those spring days where like sometimes it's warm and then it'll get cold and then it'll get warm again, you know? Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Okay, really enjoying that pattern. So far I would recommend it. I haven't really, obviously I haven't gotten to wear it, tried it on a couple times. So I think it's gonna fit well, but you never really know, I feel like, until you finish blocking and all is said and done. So, but so far I would recommend it. Okay, and then let's go to the whip that I have brought back, you know, into my active whips, because I have a whole pile of whips. It's usually sitting over here. I moved it so I could film, but I have like a whole pile of whips that I've just almost abandoned. It's not that I don't want to finish them, it's just that for whatever reason I just had to stop working on them. I'm trying to be mindful of that when I'm casting on other things, that I have some projects that I could probably get back into. And so I casted on a new project, but instead of casting on another project, I went back to this project. And it's made me realize that while I have a lot of yarn that I've bought with the intention of knitting shawls with, and I have a lot of shawl patterns, I've never actually finished a shawl. So I realized I need to get on that, and that means that I have 2 whips that I abandoned that were shawls. One of them was this one, which is the Barbara shawl by Gregoria Fibers, and I think there was almost a line when I first started working on it again. There was like a line where I think you could kind of just see where it had been resting on the needles. So I think from like about here is where I have gotten in the past couple of days from working on it. So it was about here when I stopped working on it. So did not have a lot of progress. I still don't have a ton of progress, but we're getting there. And my plan for this is to every day do at least 12 rows, which is about a pattern repeat. So I think, yeah, the pattern repeat is 12 rows. So if I do at least 12 rows every day, I should see a significant amount of progress over the next, few weeks. So I'm hopeful that I can finish this before it starts getting too warm. I think this would be really nice to like wrap around. Like right now, for example, I'm a little chilly. I'm actually thinking about like maybe I should put on maybe I should put on something else, because I'm a little, this isn't a super duper warm garment, as you could probably imagine, because it's just a t-shirt. But this would be really nice to like wrap around if I had it. Alright, this nude is making a comeback because I am a bit chilly, and yeah, also my neighbors just started like mowing their lawn, so sorry, I'm trying to like get this to come down a little bit because it's like my arms that are cold. So this nude is back. This is it's a pattern that was designed for Blue Sky Fibers, and it's knit with their wool stock worsted, and it was just sitting there, so I was like, let me put it on because I'm chilly. Yeah, my neighbors are mowing their lawn. Hopefully the camera's not picking that up, but I really am enjoying this pattern. I love the, what is this, like broken garter stitch or something? I really love how it's like textured because it's like kind of got the like triangle shape to it. It's like a 3D knit. I will say, I think I said this before when I first talked about this on the podcast like a while ago. I casted this on in August of last year, so it's been a while. But I'm not a huge fan of the way that this pattern was written. It says it's supposed to be very beginner friendly, but it doesn't hold your hand enough, in my opinion, to be considered super beginner friendly, unless you're like an adventurous beginner and you don't mind doing a bit of work to kind of figure out the pattern repeat. So I won't spend too much time talking about that, but I just wanted to note that, at least for me, I did have to actually write out instructions for myself to follow, and I had to like figure it out. It wasn't already in the pattern, so a little, in my opinion, if I'm gonna pay for a pattern, I shouldn't have to do any additional thinking unless I'm modifying it. And I'm not modifying it, so that was just a little thing to note. I wouldn't say that I don't recommend the pattern, but I almost feel like, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna pay for a pattern and it's a pattern that you could probably figure out yourself, it shouldn't have you also have to figure things out yourself to do. So it's not that I wouldn't recommend it. I would still, because I still do really think it's a beautiful design and it's a beautiful pattern. I just am not a fan of how it was written. So also the yarn that I am using is actually this yarn right here. Let me see if I can pull this out without everything falling. This is a hand-dyed yarn from Coastal Yarns, which is the yarn shop in Cannon Beach, Oregon. I highly recommend going and checking the store out if you're ever in the area. And this is their Sneaker Waves DK yarn in the colorway Driftwood. It is beautiful. It has that glow to it that I feel like a lot of hand-dyed yarns have. It's just beautiful. But yeah, I'm really enjoying working on this, and I do think it's a beautiful pattern. I will say that. I think it's a beautiful design, and I'm looking forward to having the finished object so I can wear it. And honestly, I don't know why I stopped working on it. This one wasn't intentional. I didn't intentionally abandon it. I don't know, I just had other things, I guess, that were pulling my attention. Okay, and then that brings us to my last whip, which is the newest, well, I actually cast on the socks, those were my most recent cast on, but as far as like, you know, sweaters go, this is my newest cast on, and I don't have much to show you. It's just the back panel, but this is it will be the Oslo sweater by Petite Knit. I've been wanting to knit this ever since I saw Knee Knits wearing hers. There's something about the way that the collar looks on this sweater that really caught my interest, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna buy this pattern, I'm gonna knit it, and once I know how to knit the collars that like look the way that this one does, then maybe I can start to modify other patterns to have a similar collar, if that makes sense, because I just really like how it looks. But we'll have to see how it fits me, you know, because it's one thing to see it in a picture, I also need to like see what it looks like on me. But anyways, I just have the back panel so far. just knitting back and forth. And the yarns that I'm using, I am using Palette by Knit Picks. This is the colorway Clover, I'm pretty sure. This yarn is the I have it here. I literally don't need to guess at the name. This is the Mayflower Super Kid Silk mohair, and I believe the shade name, the color number is 50, but I believe it's also called Pesto on Hobie is the site that I bought this off of. So it's making it really nice. I feel like, you know, these blended really well together. The only thing I don't like is this mohair has, like, the core of the yarn is a little bit lighter than the actual color. And so I don't know if it's picking up, but you can kind of maybe see there's some, like, kind of almost, it looks like white specks in there. And that is the core of the mohair, like the core of the strand of mohair. And I don't know why it's so much lighter and it almost looks white. And yeah, I don't love that, but from like afar you just can't really tell that much. So it's kind of giving it like a heathered effect, which I'm not mad about, but I kind of wish it wasn't doing that, but it's fine. I still think it's a really beautiful kind of fabric that it is creating. I like the feel of it. I'm actually gonna bring out my Drops mohair. I want to say, I feel like these are pretty comparable. I'm like, now that I'm feeling them, I don't know if I would really be able to tell which is which. I want to say this one maybe feels a little bit softer, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the Drops Kid Silk and this Kid Silk they're very comparable. I feel like, well, I don't know price wise, I think they're both more affordable, and they feel very similar. So that's all my whips. I'm trying to think. I don't have any acquisitions, which is really nice because I've been wanting to really not buy a lot of yarn. I'm trying to go longer periods of time before buying yarn so I can finish more things. I'm not going to keep track of it because I don't really find that to be super fun, but I do want more yarn going out than yarn coming in. And I guess the only way to tell that for sure would be to keep track of it, but I don't really want to do that. What I'm attempting right now is I'm going to finish 5 projects. So what I was thinking about doing is like I'll like give myself that goal to finish 5 projects, and then I'll allow myself to buy yarn for a new project. And I want to not let myself, well, I really want to avoid buying yarn when I don't have a project in mind, unless it's something where it's like a pre-order, or I'm at a yarn store and I see yarn that maybe I don't have as much access to, or something like that. So obviously exceptions can be made, but generally speaking, I want to have a project in mind and I want to wait until I'm closer to being able to cast on that project. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having a yarn stash, no matter how big or small it may be, and I'm not making any judgments like towards anyone else. Like, you have the stash that feels good for you, but personally I want to be a little bit more, I guess, thoughtful and intentional about the yarn, because I have noticed that some of the things that I bought yarn for, when it actually comes time to cast on for, even if I buy yarn for the project that I'm thinking about, you know, I have a project in mind when I buy it, by the time I actually get around to being able to have, like, to be able to cast it on, I feel like I sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to knit that anymore. Like, I'll have decided that, you know, I'll learn more about my particular style and taste and what I'm looking for in garments, and so patterns that I had bought yarn for a while ago no longer fit that bill, for example. So I'm just like, you know, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to buy yarn for projects that I'm not going to be able to cast on anytime soon. So I'm really going to try to work on getting to a place where maybe I have a few projects going. I know I'm going to finish up 1 or 2 soon, so now I'm going to buy yarn for an upcoming project so that I can, you know, get it swatched for and all of that and have it ready to go when I've got, you know, space amongst my whips for a new project. I'm not going to try and be too strict about it or anything like that. You know, this isn't to punish myself, and it's not to, you know, I want to have fun with my knitting. I don't want it to be in any way stressful. I just want to get through some of the yarn that I have, because there's also a lot of projects that I have yarn for that I'm very excited for, but they keep getting like pushed back for other things. So yes. So my goal, right, is to finish 5 projects, then I can buy yarn for a new project, then finish 5 more, then buy another. Now, again, I'm not being super duper strict on myself here, and I want to make sure that it's making sense. So for example, if I finish 5 projects and I'm allowed to buy myself more yarn, and say I'm ordering from somewhere that I can get free shipping if I order a little bit more yarn, maybe I'll like combine it. Maybe I'll get 2 sweater quantities worth at a time so that I can get that free shipping. So maybe I'll wait, you know, maybe, you know, so maybe sometimes I'll be spending a bit more, a bit less. So I also kind of have a yarn budget in mind for myself that I will be trying to stick to, and so I don't, you know, go crazy with this in any way. But I have finished 3 projects towards the 5, right? And then I think the Lumme pullover will be the next one that I finish. And then I don't know what project will be finished next. It could be the socks, it could be the shawl, it could be the Oslo sweater. I don't really have any rules about like it can only be, because I realize, you know, 5 projects, 3 of those, or 2 of them have been smaller projects, and then this one, this one was, you know, not a full sweater. So I don't have any rules about like, oh, it has to be 5 sweaters, or it can't be more than 1 accessory in the 5. I don't have any rules like that. It can be whatever. It can be a scrappy project. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go try to do like 5, and then I can buy new yarn. Another 5, then new yarn. You guys get it. So I'm gonna try to stick to that. We'll see how it goes. Again, if it becomes stressful or annoying in any way, or I'm just not having fun doing that, then I'm just not gonna do it. But for now, it seems fun. It seems kind of exciting. Like it's a little bit of a challenge. So I'm gonna try to do that. And yeah, as far as like future cast-ons, I do want to work with these 4 whips before I cast on anything new, but I'm also like kind of wanting to cast some things on. I have a few projects in mind, but I think the one that I will be casting on next has to be the Leith cardigan by Rebecca Clow, because I'm knitting I'm going to be doing the boucle, where it's like the boucle yarn. So instead of the different colors for the intarsia part, it's like different textures. Anyways, and I just feel like that's going to be a nice transitional piece, so I should probably get started on it now. I should probably be like swatching and casting on now, because I have a feeling that that's going to take me longer to knit, because it is a cardigan and because it's a new technique. I've never done intarsia before, so I'm hoping it's not too complicated. But again, I always think that things are going to be super complicated and they end up being like very easy, so I think we'll be good. Future plans, the boucle cardigan. Okay, I think that's all I have for you today. It was probably still a super long episode because I chat a lot, so. And again, I don't know when my next podcast will be. I should have a vlog coming soon, but again, I don't know. Just bear with me I'm still very much in a transitional state of life right now. It's been more chaotic here than I anticipated, and then knowing that you're gonna move again, it's like hard to try to get into a routine. That's it for this podcast. I think that's pretty much all I have to share. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some good knitting time in. Please let me know what you were working on while watching. I love hearing that. And yeah, I hope it was some quality knitting time, some good knitting time. And yeah, if you are enjoying my podcast, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and if you could give this video a thumbs up, that helps YouTube know that people are liking the videos, and it helps other people then find the videos. So yeah, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to leave me a comment, again, let me know what you're working on. Let me know if you have knit any of these patterns, if you have thoughts on any of the yarn that I've been talking about. Let me know how your projects are going, what you're up to. What's the weather like where you are? Are you doing spring knits already, or are you still kind of more in the winter knitting? Yeah, let me know. I will see you in the next podcast or the next vlog, whenever those are. And again, thank you so much for your patience with my random uploading schedule. And yeah, other than that, have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye!
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding, and I press my lips together so you don't find any answer.